Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Gold Strike. Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN, bus, plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabuttingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of Zero 3D products. All right, guys, we're going to keep doing this right up until the wire. And that is the 2020 Patron Sturgis Meetup Reminder. Thursday, August 13th, 2020. The event will be plan a time between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. We're excited about this event. It's going to be, it gets bigger every year, bigger and better, and it'll be in the greater Sturgis area. That's all you need to know right now. And the other part you need to know is you must be signed up as an official mid-level or above patron member of Law Abiding Biker Media prior to May 13th, 2020. That's 3 months prior to the event. So you got to commit 3 months prior to the event at that mid-level. The deadline for sign up, June 1st, 2020 by midnight Pacific Standard Time. The official and only place that you can officially sign up is over at lawabidingbiker.com/2020 meetup. That's 2020 meetup. And by signing up over there, you'll get 2 emails to look for once you sign up. You got to provide a bunch of email. You got to sign your life away, all that kind of stuff. And then you get 2 emails. The first one is confirmation. Yeah, you signed up. Great. And you'll get some information up front. And then the second email you need to look for, if you don't see it, you need to immediately check your email junk spam folder. That's your email sign up opt-in. You're going to be put on an email list. You must opt into that email list. And that is the way we are going to communicate directly with the people that have been confirmed and vetted to attend the event. We will give you these very specific information as the date approaches when it gets very close. And we'll give you the information that you need so that you know where to meet when kickstands are up, more details about the ride. And again, it will be in and around the Sturgis area. We are going to do a ride and we're going to do a meetup. It's a nice little ride. It's safe. Even though it's Sturgis time, we took a lot of time making sure it was an area that will be safe for a group like ours. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Goat will be there. Goat's sitting here on a mic.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, going to be a blast as usual. So hope to see you guys there. Oh yeah, once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and get hooked up now. We'll get right into this thing, guys. We got a great episode for you, of course, as usual. These are some of my favorite episodes, and you'll find out why. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
Nice. Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history by being here live, by listening in podcast format, the YouTube channel. However you consume our content, you are part of what we call the biker revolution. That's right. We do have just one question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Mount up. Let us take you on another wild ass ride. Yeah, you got to add the ass in there. It just sounds better. All right.
Indeed.
Good job, guys.
I'm learning at this.
Yeah, that's all right. It's good fun. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast, and your high-tech redneck. I'll just say it. Goat's over there chatting. Mm-hmm. He can only do one thing at a time. That's it. All right. So we do have Goat in the studio. We've got Tim. Tim has been on the mic before, and you guys have heard him. It was one episode. It's Goat's brother. And we'll introduce Tim in a minute. This episode is going to be biker talk. And I love these episodes because we get to meet Tim and his background. And just up front, without giving it all away, I'll tell you guys, Tim has a lot of motorcycle experience. He has a motorcycle race background. He's also been in a motorcycle collision and suffered some severe injuries from that. We're going to break that down and we're going to let the conversation go wherever it goes. That's why I love these episodes, because really the show notes are open discussion. And I do some bullet points of possible topics to talk about. And we're going to get his background and all that kind of stuff. He brings a lot of experience to the table. And this will definitely be an episode you guys will want to stay tuned for. We do have the live chat going. We will be in the chat monitoring. If you guys have questions for Tim, please put them on there. Goat's going to be monitoring, and we'll try to get those questions to him. Again, this episode could go for like 5 hours because I love talking to bikers and finding backgrounds, but we're not going to do that. So we'll monitor those and try to get those questions in there. And real quick before we get going, I do want to say we have a new free video as usual, and you guys were involved in this. So this is a new free video. It went out a long time ago, but I try to announce one per podcast. And it is a motorcycle tire change and balance in your garage, do-it-yourself tutorial. That was Tim's
Yes.
get up, I should say, his equipment. And he was involved intricately in changing a tire and balancing it. And he taught us a lot of stuff. And you'll find out why he had that knowledge, because I'm sure we're going to get into him being down at the track and fixing tires and stuff like that. But I thought it was an appropriate video to put in this show. So lawabidingbiker.com/whatever episode this number is, I will link this video in that. And if you want to learn how and some of the equipment that's fairly reasonably priced, a DIY system, then check that video out. So happy to have you patrons in here. And speaking of patrons, we love our sponsors, Rick Rack Zero right now, but these people also make these episodes possible and are a direct sponsor of this episode.
Mr. Alan Green of Broken Bow, Oklahoma, a top-tier patron. Jim Tracta of Daytona Beach, Florida. I know Jim's made a couple of orders from us because
from the Law Abiding Biker store. Nice.
Lately, yes. And Chris Zimmer of Wyandotte, Minnesota, or Michigan. Sorry.
And Antonio Messina of Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Charles Johnson Jr. of Magnolia, California. Dave Needham of Silverdale, Washington. That's close to home.
Yeah, buddy, right over the west side of the mountains, a couple hours away. So cool to get everybody, but Washington folks. Washington, there you go. That's right, lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon is how they got hooked up. Pledge a certain amount, purpose content, no risk to you. You can put a monthly cap, as you all know, in the chat here. There are benefits such as the Facebook, private Facebook group, t-shirts, stickers. We love the Facebook group. It's a troll-free zone. Bikers helping bikers. You can get access to these episodes months before everybody else. There you go. And access to the ride meetups and events like in Sturgis, and access to our premium videos up on request. And that's just some of the benefits, guys. So there you go. Get hooked up. We love going into 2020 here. We appreciate our patron members even more as we move forward and grow. We had a heck of a day in the studio today. We've been training all day. I just want to mention real quick before we get into our main topic, it's something you guys want to know, and that is our store is growing quickly. We've done a complete redesign of the website. We're on the tail end. We had training today for Big Daddy and Goat on, it's a much more navigable store. It's a better look. It's cleaner. It's going to be really easy for you guys to use. And we are adding products as quickly as we can. So that for you guys is going to open up a whole bunch of stuff. So I just ask you, if you're a listener, if you're a patron, whatever, if you want to get something, please check our store first. It helps directly support us. You know the faces. You know what we're doing to try to help the biker community. And we can't do that without financial support. That's another way you can support us. Check it. If we don't have it, if you have time, you can certainly email us, hit the contact form, ask us if it's something we can get. And a lot of the patron members get even extra special deals. We try to work that. And I know we've done that recently with some patron members who got some Vance and Hines exhaust and stuff, and we gave you a little patron discount too. And so we try to do it different than a lot of the other big conglomerates because we aren't the big conglomerate yet, and we are still just bikers. We're a bootstrap company trying to help bikers. And so you can get at the same price, if not better, from us. We're getting from the same distributors as all the big names, just the way the industry works. So you won't necessarily get a better deal anywhere else. We all kind of have to follow MAP pricing and stuff. That's just the way the industry works. So there you go. Tim, welcome, my brother.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, he's going to be doing some talking here. So I already mentioned.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, he is. And that's good. That's good. I am too. That's why we'll have to monitor the clock because I can get out of hand on this. So we got anything going on in the chat there, Goat, that needs to be monitored? Never mind. That's all Goat's got to say. All right, what do we got going on? Yeah, go.
We have one, Chris Lezak is asking if maybe you had mentioned the Eastern meetup as well for the guys that can't make the Sturgis meetup.
Well, Chris, I would love to. And if you put the details in there, because I have had a long day and I know generally about it, and Brad Johnston, who's organized, that's the East one.
Right, the East.
I need to, who's going to here's what I say, Chris. Put the details in the chat and I'll mention it, the date, time. I have so much going on. We also have another Western one, Brad Johnston, and he's going to get on the mic. I need somebody, and I'm glad you brought that up, Chris. I need somebody to get a hold of me because we need to do an episode about the Eastern 2020 Lab meetup, the non-sanctioned event, because that's what we did last year with Russell. So somebody get a hold of me via email, and whoever's going to do that, and I'll get you on a podcast via Skype, and we'll get that information out. So good job, Chris, on that. And like I said, Brad Johnston, he's going to get a hold of me too, because we have a Western, it's in Oregon, right? Yeah. And so he's going to do a Western one, non-sanctioned. So this thing's booming. And so I'm sorry, guys, I can't, because I can't attend them because I have a regular job I have to hold down in a family. I only get so much time off. Eventually when I retire, I want to hit all those. So give me the information on these events that you guys are doing. You've all asked me, and I love it because they ask, like, Brad, do I have permission? I'm like, heck yeah, do it, but you guys got to get a hold of me so we can get you on Skype and get an episode out, and I'll bump them ahead of the rest so we can, whatever your sign up forms are, whatever you have going on. Hit me up, Chris. You know how to do it, man. We've known each other a long time, and we'll get that Eastern Lab meetup. I just don't have time to go in the Facebook group right now. So good. Thanks for bringing that up. Tim, we're going to dive right in. Goat's brother, Tim's been on the mic before. You're going to hear him on another episode. We're doing 2 back-to-back tonight. Some motorcycle experience. So I want to take it back a little bit. And I know I've had one of these with Goat too. But tell me, let's just start with when, kind of childhood, where you grew up, and how you came in, what brought you to motorcycles and your love of motorcycles.
He's
and all
crazy.
That kind of stuff. He is crazy as shit.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now.
A little sanity issues, I think, started it all.
Don't we all have those? We wouldn't ride motorcycles. We didn't have sanity issues, right?
We had, I've had a 2-wheel passion, I think, as long as I can remember. I remember one of the first, I think, memories of anything like that was jumping a tricycle off of my grandfather's porch and having a hydroseal, which is a ruptured testicle, and having to go to the hospital and have some surgery done on that. And that was at what, like maybe 4 years old, Brian?
I think it was like 3.
So
wow.
So that's kind of when it all started. But just loving growing up riding bicycles with my brother. And we lived in Mesa, Washington. We came up from
Is that how you say it, Mesa?
Yeah.
I've always said it Mesa.
Mesa, Arizona, Mesa,
Oh,
Washington.
Mesa, Washington. I F it up all the time.
Spelled the same.
Yeah.
But, we came up here when we were really young. So we lived in a small kind of farming community. And so our bicycles and riding, it wasn't like your kids around town on pavement and stuff. We were on little dirt trails and making jumps and using old car hoods to make jumps. And so it was kind of a natural progression, I think, going from bicycles to motorcycles. And it went to dirt bikes because, again, we grew up around mostly dirt. And just I remember when I was really young, making trips from the small town that we lived in up here to the Tri-Cities and for grocery shopping or whatever. And I would look out the window of the car and I would look at the side of the road, at the trails or the ditch bank roads.
If you're about ready to what I'm saying, you're freaking me out.
And I would imagine myself riding a motorcycle.
Are you shitting me?
No shit.
I've never
over stuff.
I never have discussed that with anybody. I did the same thing, dude.
Wow. It made the trips.
You think you're going with the speed of the car and jumping the culverts and stuff?
Exactly, yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
If there was an irrigation canal, can I clear it? Yeah. Just this.
Okay, I'm not crazy.
No.
Dude, that's why I never told anybody.
We're both pretty crazy.
Seriously, I've never told anybody that. It's crazy, dude.
No, and and again, I think that comes from that passion from the soul.
Yeah.
That's something that we're born with, and it's not that everybody's born with that. It's a true love for what we do. And so, I always wanted to, we came from a pretty financially challenged background. So we
Amen,
couldn't
brother.
afford to go out and buy, all the latest, coolest stuff. And
Was you guys PO like me?
Pretty
Straight
much,
up PO, not
yeah.
even poor. We couldn't even afford the last two letters.
Indeed.
Right? Yeah.
Government cheese type boys
Yeah,
there.
buddy. Top ramen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great big cans of peanut butter.
Yes, us too. 4 kids. Yeah, sorry.
But you know what's funny is that background, I still love that same food.
Yeah.
It's my comfort food. I'll go right back to it. But so growing up like that, when we did get our hands on machines,
What age was that?
I think early teens.
Oh,
I
okay.
think was
So
the
you,
first time that I
because you couldn't afford them when you were young. Yeah, right. I dreamed of them.
I rode friends' bikes and stuff like that. And
Did you ever put cardboard in your spokes to make it sound like a motorcycle?
Oh yeah, definitely cards. Playing
Nice,
cards.
dude. I did too.
Yeah.
Wanted a motorcycle so bad. We used to ride together like chips and sing.
Make the noises in your head.
Yeah, nice, dude. All right, you are crazy like me. Good.
But so getting further along in that and finally getting a machine, we couldn't take them to a dealer to have it repaired. So we learned how to fix stuff on our own, and we usually had guys around that were willing to help us a little bit, learn a few things and loan us a couple tools here and there, that kind of thing. And I think that's what kind of started my passion for intimacy with my motorcycle. And, I know when something sounds wrong, or if something is wrong, I can usually, if I've got the right tools and the parts, I can fix it myself, kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And that transferred over to, going to the racetrack and that kind of stuff. Again, I don't come from a big, money sponsorship type of deal or anything like that. So a lot of it was me doing it on my own, building my own bikes, that kind of stuff. But
what kind of bikes are we talking about here? You're getting into your bikes at teens. Are we talking dirt bikes? Are we talking race bikes?
Dirt
street
bikes,
Okay.
and dirt bikes. We lived when we moved up here to the Tri-Cities. We had the Horn Rapids ORV Park, and it was just up the road from our house. And so I had some friends that would tow
It's got
me
a
out
racetrack, right?
Yes,
I know that. I'm
it's a
just for the
full-on-
audience, full on.
It's a full on motocross track, and it's a pretty high level one. You've got people that come from all over the Pacific Northwest to go and race there.
Badass.
And now they've got quad track and go-kart track. I mean, a high level
nice
go-kart
paved
track.
Go-kart tracks.
Very cool. One of my buddies goes down there. He lives right down the road here from me with the same agency, and he runs his bike down there all the time. Yeah.
A lot of the guys race supermotos out there.
Oh.
So for the listeners that don't know what that is, it's basically a dirt bike with street bike tires on it, and you get out there and race around the track and bump elbows and have a lot of fun. So
that's cool.
Yep. And if you come from a dirt bike background, you're comfortable with that. You're comfortable with that type of motorcycle, with the way it handles, and also the way you can manipulate it. There's always a term in dirt bike riding and racing: you steer with the rear. So you slide the back in and throttle it, and that's where you get your launch from, and how you kind of control it.
Get in the direction you want to go.
Indeed. And the same thing can go with supermoto, and then that can transfer over to the road as well, especially with road racing. You start pushing that limit, and you get that bike moving around underneath you, and you're familiar with that. You're comfortable with that. It benefits you big time. So, going from the dirt bike. 16 years old, I had to borrow a car to take my driver's license test.
Nice.
But I had my own bike in the parking lot. And I took my motorcycle test the same day.
Oh, yeah, cool.
This was down in Salt Lake City, Utah, where I got my license. And they had a full-on course there for motorcycles. You had to go up over train tracks, over an inclined hill, and
that sounds more reasonable than the stupid test these days.
Oh,
anybody can get a license these days.
It was real-world type of stuff.
That's amazing.
So you really had to kind of know how to ride a bike before they gave you any kind of a license to ride a bike. And I've never let my endorsement lapse.
Yeah, good.
Ever, since I was 16 years old, and I'm 52 now. So
excellent, excellent. That's crazy because the motorcycle tests these days just seem like such a joke compared to that. Like it's
you can take it on a little tiny 250cc
and then go ride
bike.
it. 1100. That just doesn't make any sense at all.
Go to the bike shop and buy a motorcycle that's capable of 170 miles an hour and get out on the road.
Get my blood flowing. A lot of these motorcycle safety courses too. That's what they do. They get a bunch of little tiny bikes and everybody goes and takes these safety courses, and then they go out, like you said, and buy a bike that's capable of 170 miles an hour. I don't get that in Washington. I don't know if it's like that in all states. We used to have a CC. Remember that? When we first got our endorsements, we had the CC classifications, but now it's just, you could literally do damn near above a moped and,
and
51 cc's and get a
license for anything.
License to drive anything.
Yeah, the only
safe
caveat they have on it now is 3-wheeled.
Right.
You have to do a special deal for 3-wheeled.
A separate, endorsement. True that. All right. So you're getting, at this point in your life, you got your bikes now that you've always dreamed about. And, where are you going from here? You're still in Salt Lake or what?
I came back up here. I kind of bounce around here and there, California, back up here.
Doing
Texas.
what? What are you doing? Chasing?
Not much of anything.
Chasing the old
chasing girls,
chicks.
chasing the
chasing
dream,
tail.
man.
Yeah, buddy.
When I went down to Salt Lake and stuff, I had some friends I went down there with, and I was just a ski bum.
Okay, you were a ski bum.
Yeah, I had a friend that owned, his dad owned a steakhouse, and one of his buddies there would clock us in, clock us out.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I never worked a day in that place.
Dude, nice.
But I got a check every month, every 2 weeks from that place. But so we were up on the ski
Statute of limitations are over on that.
Indeed.
People, don't worry about
hope
it.
So.
He's 52. Statute of limitations are over. Just kidding.
And if his dad's listening, hey, man, thanks. Appreciate it. But so, kind of doing that kind of thing, just going here and there. And I wanted to taste a little bit of what, the United States had to offer and where I wanted to really call home.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is I've been to a lot of places and I love living here.
Yeah.
This is home.
Amen, bro.
And
the older I get, the more I travel around the country. I tell people this all the time. Law-abiding biker has allowed me to do that. And I've ridden to all these different states and different areas. And although I love them and they all have something to offer, we here in the Pacific Northwest, where we live, is some of the most beautiful country. Because I do videos and people are like, God, I wish I had area like that to ride. I'm like, yeah, that's 2 minutes out my back door. Like
Indeed.
we've
got it all.
We've got it all.
Everything from desert
to mountains to rainier
to rainforest
to rainforest. Yeah. We just are. And so the more
very blessed.
You think it's always better somewhere else. And then you start spreading your wings and you're like,
Indeed.
It's not bad where I live. We got 4 seasons. I hate the winter.
Yeah.
But we get all other 3 seasons in the extreme. I love spring. I love fall. I love summer. I hate winter. Hate it with a passion. If I could just get rid of that one season. But anyways, I digress.
And if you love to ride dirt bikes and stuff and you love to get up in the mountains in the wintertime, you can get a track, that's kind of like a snowmobile track.
Right.
And ski for the front of your KTM and boom, up in the mountains you go. And you still have that motorcycle feeling versus
those are
snowmobile
badass,
feeling.
dude. Those
I
videos.
got some friends that love.
I love what really.
Yeah.
You got friends that do that?
Oh yeah.
They just convert them, right?
Yeah.
They put a track. I've seen them on videos at the dealership. Yeah. They're always playing them videos. So they put a track on the back instead of the rear wheel. It's a conversion and the ski.
Yep.
That's some crazy shit. You ever rode those?
Yes, I have.
Is it fun?
Oh yeah.
Is it better than a snowmobile?
I love it. I love it a lot more than a snowmobile simply because, again, it's that motorcycle feel.
Yeah.
It handles a whole lot different than a snowmobile does.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of tricky, but
I wondered about
if
that.
If you come from any kind of a dirt bike background or just a motorcycling background, you'll kind of adapt to that, I think, a little bit easier than a snowmobile, especially when you get kind of sketchy. And you can get into places and out of places where a lot of snowmobiles can't. It's really easy to get a snowmobile stuck.
They're lighter too, motorcycles, right? Them damn snowmobiles are so heavy.
You bet. And you can get, not to brand promote or anything like that, but you can get a KTM that you can get that whole package for. And you can also have your dirt bike wheels and everything for going out dirt bike riding.
Instead of buying 2 machines.
And you can have the full supermoto set up to go out on the racetrack and ride a supermoto.
That's badass.
Road racing.
That's
so one
badass.
bike, you can do it all.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know you had done that. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm just curious about those, and then we'll move on because I like learning new stuff. But I don't around here. Maybe I don't see a ton of them. I see a lot more snowmobiles, but are they fairly popular around here? Which is more popular?
It's one of those kind of close knit communities.
Okay.
You'll get a group of guys that's either all they do or they do it all.
Okay.
And but they still kind of hook up in these smaller groups, if you will. And if you live in certain areas, or if you spend time, a lot of the guys transition from snowmobiling. They're also bike riders.
Yeah.
And then they see these things up in the hills and like, dude, that is totally cool. Can I try that out? And no, you can't touch my stuff. But I'll tell you where you can get one.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so guys, they'll start transitioning to that kind of thing, or at least give it a try. And it's kind of like skiing and snowboarding.
Right.
You either love one.
That's what I wondered.
Or you either love it or you hate it, kind of deal. Or if you're good enough and you're ambidextrous,
you do both.
You've got that. Yeah, you do both.
That's what I did. Yeah.
And again, a lot of it also comes down to financial means.
Right.
These kits are a lot less expensive if you've already got the bike and stuff.
You've already got the motor, the frame,
than buying a high-end snowmobile. And you're accepted into the community either way. If you're up in the mountains playing in the snow, welcome to the warming shelter. Have a snort.
So it's right. So it's very much like the motorcycle community, kind of.
Indeed. There's
a common bond that, like those guys don't look down on snowmobile guys.
Indeed.
Okay.
It's one of those deals where we're all here to have a good time and have fun, and
we all love the same
your
thing.
Your machine's cool, my machine's cool, and I think mine's cooler, but but we've got some cool stuff, and we're blessed. High five. Kind of deal,
That's badass. I've always been interested in that sport because, like I say, I just never seen it in person because I don't go up there, but I've seen a lot of videos on it. It looks freaking awesome. So let's do this real quick, and then we'll move right on with the conversation. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero3D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. Zero3D's got your back with chrome, black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing, more time riding, guys. Zero3D has a design team with over 40 years experience with a passion, and they do have a passion for design and innovation, which is why they've grown so fast. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Pride themselves on great customer service, which is the other reason they've grown so fast. Got a question? Get in touch with them. Sales at zero3d.com. Give them a call, 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership. Ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts for those Gold Wings. A new leader has emerged, so check out Zero3D's custom line of Gold Strike products. For all the new Honda Gold Wings, Russell Roberts out there, patron member, got a new Gold Wing too, so he needs to get hooked up with some of that. Better yet, help support us. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero3D products. Oops, sorry for the heart cut there, guys. Oh, that was horrible. All right, so getting back in the car. Yeah, Russell Roberts got the new Gold Wing, dude.
Yeah.
Pretty sexy.
And his wife loves it.
She does, yeah.
I've heard she's riding on it a lot too. So
very, very cool. All right, so getting back into the conversation. So we're ski bumming and we're working, not working, kind of, and we're Salt Lake City, and where we go from here, bro, and then we'll get into some deeper stuff.
Coming back home and missing
home
family
is what you call here.
Yeah. And my brother is not only my brother; he's been my best friend ever since I can remember. And so, coming back to street bike stuff, I was actually on the road on street bikes before I ever had a license and had a motorcycle license because I'd steal my brother's.
Back then, though, it was different. We did the same thing. We were riding all over I was driving cars at like 13 to the farm across the country roads. It's just a different time, and but yeah.
Back growing up on the farming community that we were in, you could ride the ditch banks in the truck, that kind of thing, or drive tractors, that kind of stuff. But
if you're doing farm work, I drove over and picked up feed.
Yeah, exactly.
13 years old.
Same here. I used to drive to the local little store, little market, and pick up stuff for mom and dad. It just wasn't, there was just no traffic anywhere where we grew up in the country. Right. So it was different times. But isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Totally different. I love those times. I think they were better times in a certain way. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So, no problem. So bouncing around, coming back home, and I took a motorcycle. This was a Yamaha Seika 550 that I had, and I threw a duffel bag on it.
Oh, we got to look this shit up. Yamaha
Seika 550, like 19.
Seika SECA.
SECA, yep.
550 picture. Yep. We got to check this shit out. If there's a picture
there
of you on
the
one,
the red and white one.
This
right
one
there, yep.
Nice, bro. Oh yeah.
So I jumped on that thing there, and I threw a duffel bag on the back of it. And the same buddies that I had lived with in Salt Lake City, they were now had graduated college. They were down in Southern California, were making a good name for themselves and a lot of money. And they were like, "Hey, dude, you need to stop whatever you're doing and come on down here and party with us." So I was working at Albertsons or, some kind of a dead end job. Right. And I was like, well, I really don't have the cash to come down there. In California, man, it's pretty spendy. And they're like, "Dude, you don't have to worry about anything. Just get down here. We've got it all taken care of." So I'm like, okay, how fast can I get down there?
Right.
And so I load stuff up on a bike, and I rode that bike there from here to Southern California to Newport Beach, California, just south of LA, about 45 minutes south of LA, Anaheim area. And
dude, only a young man can do that.
Yeah,
and you didn't care when you were that age, did you?
It was pretty much nonstop. I mean, I pulled over and slept at a rest area for a little bit, and
just like right on the ground, dude, or what?
Oh yeah,
nice, dude.
And
you were bumming it, bro.
And back in those days, you didn't really have to worry about too much. If you needed something, people were pretty quick to help you out.
True.
And talk to you, and there wasn't so much of the the mom shying the kids away from you. It was, hey, that guy, look, he rides a motorcycle, and the little boy come over and talk to you, about your motorcycle kind of thing. We still get that, but it's not the same.
It's not. Times have changed, that's for sure.
Indeed. And so anyway, I went down to Southern California and living in Newport Beach, I go right down to the Newport Pier, and there was the Marine Corps Air Base at El Toro, California.
Yeah.
And so this is back in the day when the GSXR, 1986, the GSXR 750
Gixxer, bro.
first came out. Yeah, the Yamaha FZ was already out, the FZ 600, but it was fairly new still too.
Yeah.
So you got these Top Gun wannabe guys, right? They're all buying these bikes and coming down there. And so we're rolling around in a group, and there's not too much trouble you can get into on those kind of roads down there. It's usually, it's freeways and highways, not a whole bunch of twisty stuff, except for Mulholland and when you get out of town and get up into the foothills and stuff. And so again, that was when the sport bike stuff was kind of first really growing. And Laguna Seca, they've always had race bikes and, Eddie Lawson type, era bikes, and the Suzuki GS 1100 ES, those kind of bikes that weren't really cafe race bikes, but you could kind of convert them to, to something that was a little bit more twisty, road friendly. But so rolling around with those guys and starting to go a little bit faster and a little bit faster. And guys were starting to say, hey, there's Laguna Secas up here in Monterey. Why don't you come up with us?
Did you guys play this, bro?
They had it on their Walkman.
Dude. Oh, yeah. You were playing this, weren't you? You have long hair?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I was rocking the mullet. Back then. And I made it look good.
Dude. All right, enough of that noise. I'm sorry. Come on, that's fun.
Yeah, no, just, learning. Again, my skill level started increasing. And a lot of it was the different types of riding.
Yeah.
Again, I brought that dirt bike riding background into street riding. So when we were, goofing around, getting a little bit squirrely and stuff, I had a little bit more confidence than a lot of the other guys did, and their riding ability, and to kind of get the bike under control a little bit better. And so other guys started seeing that, and they started saying, hey, why don't you come out and try this, and and do a little bit of that. And I was getting invited to ride with guys that had a little bit more skill level.
Yeah.
And
no Facebook groups back then.
No.
You had to meet people and shit, didn't you? Had to talk to people.
Indeed. And they had to trust you.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to get in those groups.
Yeah, it is. It is. And for a number of reasons. But one of the big things is if you're riding together, you've got to trust the guy that you're riding next to, especially when you're goofing around, playing and having a little bit of fun on the dangerous side.
Right.
So again, leaving there, coming back up home, and again, with financial abilities to buy different bikes and get better equipment. And then as technology develops as well, things get a little bit faster. Tires, the technology on tires got a little bit better and a little bit better. And so, of course, your capabilities start getting a little bit better. And I was chasing those skill sets. I always wanted to be a little bit better of a rider. And I had dropped bikes a couple times. I knew that hitting the road wasn't fun. It hurts every time.
It's a nice way to put dropping
fall
bikes.
Over in the driveway. It hurts.
Concrete sucks.
Indeed. And asphalt's a cheese grater, man.
Yeah, oh God, dude.
So as things kind of went on, and doing both, riding street, and then my brother and I getting some dirt bikes again, going back to that nostalgia type of thing and getting back out and playing in the dirt and, enjoying the best of both worlds again. the one helps the other. Having multimedia, if you will, type of skill sets, benefit.
Oh, totally.
And
they're different, yet they cross over a lot. I find that with riding the KLR and riding. Is that what you're talking about?
You bet, yeah.
And street. Oh, absolutely. A ton of it crosses over. Yeah.
And so I would highly suggest to anybody that's got the means, that hasn't done one or the other, if you're interested in trying them, it's a good thing.
Yep. It'll only make you a better all around rider,
Indeed.
just like you've been saying. Absolutely. I agree with that.
So going from just regular street bikes, and running in certain circles, having guys say, hey, you know what, you're a pretty good rider. Why don't you try coming and doing this? And I had friends that trusted me enough that they would let me ride their equipment.
Yeah.
Now, those guys, I have no idea what they were thinking.
See, I'm like that. I'm horrible because I let anybody ride my bikes. I don't care, but I know I shouldn't, but I do. And yeah, I don't know. Everybody's got their own thing on that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point where I would have friends that would let me ride some of the state-of-the-art stuff that they've got now. I mean, high-end, $50,000, equipment that's right out of the box, Ducati, R series, that are really expensive bikes. And the first thing I'll say is, well, how do you want me to ride it? And some of them will say, ride it like you ride it.
Right.
Because they know that I can ride.
Yeah.
And so I do. I've played.
Twist your arm.
Indeed.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, you got good insurance, right?
I got to interject a quick little thing.
Yeah, please
here.
do. Mike. Yep.
Not too long ago, one of I think your last Ducati came up for sale, and Big Daddy saw that, and his daughter was interested in a bike. Oh. And so they went and took a look at it, and Tim test rode it. And he took off from the guy's house in a wheelie.
Nice.
So it goes, he hasn't done a whole lot of stuff to it since I had it. So they ended up.
He bought it from me. The guy that was selling it, he actually purchased it from me. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when I pulled up and he saw me, he was like, okay, this guy knows the bike. I can't pull any shit here, right?
That's nice. What a great story, yeah.
But yeah, and we brought it back and said, no, thank you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Just the price?
No, it's too much machine for his daughter.
Okay, that I was gonna say, and I was thinking that. I was like, holy cow, that's not a starter bike.
Right.
No, and what a lot of people, when it comes to brands and manufacturers, that kind of thing, most sport bikes that are out there, they're made for the street and they're modified for racing.
Okay.
Ducati was built for racing and modified for the street.
Okay.
So basically they built race bikes and they put turn signals and a headlight on it and said, there you go.
And yeah, now it's street legal.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I absolutely loved about them, was, you could change rake and trail on them. You could do a lot of very technical things to the bike to set it up for racing, where when it comes to like GSXRs and Yamahas and stuff, you're buying a lot of expensive equipment as add-ons,
to try to get it to
dial it in to where it's
level.
Even close.
Yeah. So,
makes sense. You're buying, with Ducati, comes with Brembo brakes and, high-end equipment. And this was back, in the earlier Ducatis, they were, right off the showroom floor, they were high-end motorcycles. And that was before you could buy a lot of that stuff aftermarket for other bikes, like GSXRs and that kind of thing. And now you can there's a laundry list of things that you can do to just about any sport bike manufacturer out there. But again, it comes with deep pockets,
bikes
how
in
much
general,
money you want to spend.
the way the market is, right?
Exactly.
Like it's an insane market, the motorcycle market right now. You can do anything to any bike damn near. And if you want to pay enough, and there's some guy that's making parts for this, or there's some specialty guys. You're just like, holy cow.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff that's overseas. You can get cheap knockoff crap from China, but those aren't the kind of parts you want on a motorcycle.
No, I'm very cautious of some of that.
Oh yeah, your life depends on it.
You may have saved $100, but you get what you pay for on some of that stuff. Yeah.
And I know the price personally.
Yeah, really?
You can pay.
Tell me about that. Tell me that story.
Well, again, I started riding more and more expensive bikes, got more and more into the sport. Skill set was getting a little bit better.
Were you riding at this time? You're racing, but it's you're not like with a team at this or nothing like that?
No, yeah, I hadn't even gotten on the racetrack.
Okay, all right.
I was still,
okay.
Yeah, as far as road racing goes, I was still doing a lot of street stuff, basically.
Gotcha, yep.
But getting up in the twisties and stuff and kind of hanging it out to dry with my friends. and I had purchased, excuse me, an RC51, a Honda RC51. So it's a V-twin sport bike. A lot of torque, a lot of compression braking. So getting up in the twisties, you didn't have to get on the brakes hard, or even start slamming gears down to scrub off speed. You could just roll off the throttle and roll right back on.
Good compression, yeah, right.
Yeah, and so, it made it a lot easier. You didn't have to think so much going in and out of corners and creating speed.
Like, am I right? Am I speed right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Am I bumping down to the right gear? Am I shifting out at the right time kind of thing? So it allowed me to work on other skills, without having to worry about some of the finer details, if you will. So I had purchased one of these, and I had a group of friends that I had been riding with, and some of those guys were club racers and were very, very skilled riders. And again, it was one of those things where they saw that, hey, this guy can ride, let's have him hang out with us more. You get a small group of people that you're comfortable with. And it can ruin a day when you're with a rookie rider or someone that's not as skilled and they're trying to keep up with everybody that is. And the next thing you know, they're wadding themselves up.
Yeah. Been there.
You're sitting at the side of the road waiting for an ambulance or a helicopter. And, your ride's done for the day kind of deal. And so you become a lot more selective of who you're riding with. And so I started falling into some of these groups. And I had purchased this Honda RC51 and had been invited to go on a ride with some guys right after work. And so I was hurrying home, and I had some new grips that I wanted to put on the bike before I left. And I started doing this when I got the phone call. Hey, we're right up the road. Hurry up and get up here because everybody's ready to roll out. So I started rushing through the process of getting these new grips on. And unfortunately, I was working on the throttle side when I did this. And the type of grip that I was putting on at the time for sport bikes that have bar end weights on the end to cut down on vibration, you had to cut the rubber out of the end of the grip. They had a little circle that was almost like a pre-cut type of deal where you just kind of had to cut it out. And in doing that, I left a little piece of rubber on there that I should have trimmed off. And I would have had I been paying attention
had you
to detail.
Been relaxed doing it.
I hadn't been rushed. And so in the process of doing that, when I slid the bar end in, I pushed that little piece of rubber right under the throttle tube.
I'm already thinking ahead here.
And
go ahead.
I pulled out from my apartment, and it was maybe 100 feet, 150 feet to the main street that went in front of my apartment complex.
A T intersection.
Yes. And so when I rolled out, and again, this is a V-twin sport bike, so 1,000 cc, and it had gobs of torque. So I roll on the throttle as I turn out, and the throttle stuck wide open.
God, dude.
So the front end just walks right up in the air, and I'm okay with that. I knew how to wheelie and stuff. So, but the first thing went through my mind was, what the hell's wrong with my brand new bike? I just got this thing, and so I pulled the clutch in and brought the front end down, and I look up, and I'm right there at the end of the road. It's too late. I'm already there, and I literally thought for just a fraction of a second, jump, just let the bike go.
Yeah.
But it was a brand new, very expensive bike. And I was like, fuck this, I'm riding it out.
Yeah, right.
And I looked to my left, and there was 2 lanes of traffic, going eastbound. And I looked all the way past the golf course that was right next to my place, and there's nobody coming. I'm like, I'm going to make this, man. This is good. I've got it. And mind you, I've got a front wheel and rear wheel, both locked up sliding. I'm just sliding right out into the roadway. And I started to turn my head to the right to see if I was clear from the right. And I saw something blue out of peripheral vision and a flash of white light. And I woke up at a trauma center in Seattle, Washington, after being flown via jet up there. I was come and go, I guess, at the hospital when they first transported me locally. But I had been hit by 2 separate cars. The first one hit me from the side, threw me up in the air, and I came down and landed on the hood and grill of another car and bounced off of that onto the roadway and kind of slid across the road. And again, this was a mechanical failure on my part. It wasn't their fault.
Right.
And neither one of them stayed at the scene. Apparently, one pulled over, kind of got out and looked at the front end damage to his car, got back in his car and took off. And, I don't know if they had kilos of cocaine in their trunk or a dead body.
Drunk.
Or,
why were they?
Yeah, what their deal was, but I had to let that go. My main focus was healing, was getting better. And again, I knew that this was something that wasn't even their fault.
Right. Okay, so you wake up in a trauma center. So stop there. And then you guys are going to hear some more because I have some now I got some questions. All right. So this is good. Hey, Bikeaholics, you're searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords. They can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attach strapless luggage rack systems. This father-son team designed something really special that you can't find anywhere else. Yep, these guys ride, so they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack quick attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany your quick detach system. Once you use Rick Rack, you'll never go back. Well, what are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Head over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. All right, so give me the age you are at the time of this collision.
34. I think I was 34.
Okay.
I was 2002, and I'm 52 now. So,
so two cars and
17 years ago.
17?
Almost 18 years ago, yeah.
And you don't remember anything at the scene?
No. Yeah.
Okay. So you went night-night?
Yeah.
Wearing a helmet?
Yes.
Okay.
And a high-quality one. Thankful that I had a high-quality Arai helmet on at the time. And I came down on my head pretty hard. Actually had two, your helmets, they're designed where they have like packets inside them.
Yes.
For compression. And I had two perfectly round circles on the back of my head where hair had fallen out bald. Just
holy
little round
shit
spots from where the helmet hits.
So had you not had a helmet, you'd be dead.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Or even just a lesser quality helmet. I probably wouldn't survive.
Yes.
Yeah, the head injury would have been enough to probably put me away.
Because you're wearing a high quality, probably Snell and DOT rated.
Yeah. I have full leathers on, Alpenstars boots, and again, getting hit from the side, it crushed my foot and ankle to the point where when they opened it up, they were literally vacuuming pieces of bone out.
Holy shit, dude.
And I think they would have taken it the first night, the leg, had my mom not been there. And
where is this?
Seattle.
So you end up at Harborview.
Yeah, Harborview in Seattle.
He got transported to Our Lady of Lourdes.
In Tri-Cities.
Yeah, it was the duty trauma deal. And I know because I got called.
You were still active law enforcement?
Yeah. And one of the other supervisors called me, so I responded down to the scene. And
it's a shitty feeling, huh?
Oh, yeah.
When you told your brother just got in a motorcycle accident?
But I was told, it's not that bad of an accident. So I respond down.
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Well,
but when your femur's broken and your boots.
Oh, so they saw that?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't.
But
there.
they did. Yeah. Right.
They
information gets.
I ended
missed,
up having to pluck his bike out of the parking lot, put it into a vehicle, and take it up to my house.
Okay.
Because it was just left in a parking lot. So
yeah, the police didn't do a high quality investigation at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And a lot of that, I think, was because I was what seemed like a younger guy at the time on a sport bike.
Right. Oh,
and
yeah.
So I think there was a little bit of a stigmatism there.
Interesting. Like he deserved it, or he
and witnesses at the scene.
Or that's just what sport bikes guys happens.
Witnesses at the scene. So the front wheel came up. He was doing a wheelie.
But he was trying to wheelie.
Yeah, I get you. So this guy's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's some variables involved there, I think.
Yes.
But so anyway,
you wake up in Harborview. How many days? How long was that you were out?
I think I was only out for like 3 days or 4 days, but I was up
only
there for a while. Yeah,
holy shit, dude!
Yeah,
but tell me this. Sorry, I have so many questions, so I want to.
Oh yeah, no problem.
What's the last thing you remember before going night-night? Just the white thing coming from your side, you said?
Yeah, I remember.
Is that to this day still the only thing you remember?
Yeah, I remember I turned my head to look and see if anything was coming from that direction. And I got about looking, like me looking at you straight on. And I saw something blue out of peripheral vision and then a flash of white light. And then I don't remember anything from that point forward until I woke up in Harborview and had a whole lot of work done to me.
Yeah. Tell me about that experience, waking up in Harborview and your first thoughts. Did you know what had happened to you when you woke up, or did people have to tell you?
No. Yeah. I didn't know exactly what had happened to me, but when you've been out for, even if it's just for a few days, things start to scab over and you wake up and so much work has been done. I had my femur broke, mid-femoral, a large chunk of it knocked out.
That's life-threatening shit.
The femoral
if the
neck,
femur breaks are.
Oh, yeah.
The hip.
The femoral neck, that goes up your hip joint, basically. That was snapped in half as well. So I've got a full femoral implant. That's what they call a full load-bearing implant for the rest of my life. Basically a big steel rod that takes the place of my femur. and then 2 other rods that go up into the hip that kind of, make that hip joint, if you will. And so got about a 13, 14 inch scar on the side where they opened up that whole thing, pull the whole thing out, basically clamp your femur to line it back up again through different areas of your leg, and then take a huge drill bit and drill down your femur and make a hole, stick a big rod there and clamp everything in, and then literally hit it with like a mini sledgehammer to pound it into your leg.
Oh my God.
And then put everything back together. And then they went to work on my foot and ankle after that because that was crushed. And basically they tried to put it back together the best they could.
Right.
And then over a 6-year period, I went through surgery after surgery after surgery. They'd go and do a bunch of work, and then I'd be down for, a month, 2, 3. And then they would say, you need to get up and try to move around. And that was to put pressure on the bones to get the bones hardened up enough again that they could go back and do more surgeries.
Oh my God.
And so this was just kind of a process. And I would literally schedule surgeries around my summer riding season.
Is that right? So that's interesting. You continue to ride.
Oh, I was out in crutches in my driveway of my house having a...
You weren't going to let this stop you.
Oh, no, not
from
at
your
all.
passion, really.
I rebuilt the motorcycle that I was hit on that my brother had taken.
Are you shitting me?
I rebuilt it and rode it before I ever rode any other motorcycle, but I did that as quickly as I possibly could.
Was that a mental thing that you... Yeah, go ahead, Goat.
Well, one thing I remember my mom telling me, and she flew up to Harborview with him when they medevaced him out.
Yeah. Oh, she medevaced with him.
And so she was there while he was going through all this stuff. He was laying in the hospital bed doing this while he was unconscious.
I was finishing the ride.
God,
still sitting there, and she was just completely amazed by it and kept
wow.
They pushed my hands down, and I'd come right back up and continue to ride.
That's interesting about people that pass out. You see that, and they'll continue what they were doing, or people that fight, and then we make them pass out. Mm-hmm. They wake up. You got to get them cuffed before they wake back up because they keep fighting like that. Because it's just that your mind kind of picks up where it left off, so to speak. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
So
so how long in Harborview though? Sorry, I'm going to back us up a little bit.
I was there for like 11 days.
Okay.
And then, and I was still in pretty bad shape.
Well, yeah.
And they transported me. The only reason they let me out was my brother had a hospital bed put into his living room of his house. And I had the ability to have a nurse come and check on me and make sure that, my meds were squared away, my sutures and everything was healing properly, no infections and that kind of stuff. So they transported me in an ambulance down all the way from Seattle back down here into my brother's living room. And that was an ordeal in itself.
Up a flight of stairs.
Oh,
they had to put me in the specialized chair and carry me up around these stairs and around corners and stuff.
Not handicap worthy.
Not at all.
Was it?
I expected them to drop me.
Should have sued him.
Oh, I was waiting for him. I was waiting for him to drop me just so I could buy a couple more bikes, man.
No doubt.
But so I laid in his living room for a couple months probably, and it was healing. And I think a huge part of that healing process was when I woke up in the hospital and I knew something serious had happened. I mean, I was jacked up and they had me attached to equipment that was bending my leg, kind of forcing it to move, and my knee was tore up, and, I was hurting pretty bad. And so I knew, that this wasn't just, didn't just happen 15 minutes ago, this was something serious. And I had surgeons telling me, this isn't a life-ending injury by any means, but it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And they didn't think that, they were kind of questioning whether I would walk, again, or even, walk normally again. And they were saying, he's definitely not going to ride a motorcycle again. And my mom said,
yeah, she laughed at him.
You don't know my son. Yeah. And, she knew I'd be back on as quick as I could.
So, yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to roll into that. I see it. So did you ever, and thank you, Stephen Karpstein. We see your question. It's a wonderful question. I want to get into it at the proper time here. So let me ask you this first. We got an audience member question is what we're talking about. But I'm going to ask you, was there ever a time, and I do want to get a little more into your injury and rebuilding your bike and stuff, but was there ever a time that you thought that I'm done riding?
No,
okay.
not at all.
Just you were like, nope, I will saddle. back up. Like it was a thing for you. Like, was that a mental thing and just like, I'm going to do it and I don't get put down like that?
Yeah. I love it.
Right.
I love to ride. And I knew that there was conditions to it though.
Okay.
And this was a mental thing for me as well, was that the main thing was, can I do it with confidence?
Okay. Yeah.
Because if I don't have the confidence, I'm a danger to myself and I'm a danger to everybody else around me.
Yep.
You know, because I'm an accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
And can I physically do it? The way the foot was so tore up and it rolled over on its side. So I was walking on the side of my foot. You know, can I stop at a stoplight, put my feet down and not dump a bike, so there's that physical aspect of being able to do it or not.
Yeah.
And then the mental aspect. So that has to come first. You have to have confidence in not only your physical ability, but then again, your mental ability to do it as well. And so I knew right off the bat that, hey, if I can walk and I can step down, then I'm going to be fine. Cause I never questioned my skill. And again, I think also had this been something stupid on my part, had I pushed the limit and went above my abilities and caused this myself,
right,
I might very well have had a different mindset to it. But I knew that this was just something that happened.
Perfect. Thought to this question.
Okay.
Here you go. Stephen Karpstein in the live patron member chat here says, do you think you would have had a different thought about riding again if it wasn't something that you knew the cause of the accident? So the way I sum that up is if just it was a completely just random type deal.
I would have went through a different thought process from the beginning, but I think I would have came to the same conclusion at the end. Can I ride with confidence? Can I do it physically, and be okay? And if I'm not a danger to other people around me, then I'm going to test the limits for myself, in a safe environment and then go from there. But, not trying was never part of the equation. So
good question, Stephen. Thanks for that. So I'm assuming, and God, we're doing good, but we do got it. We'll keep going. So I assume obviously, there's a ton of rehab that you're going through, and you've already mentioned you're getting all these surgeries, and are you riding at this time yet?
Very much
even
so.
Before you lost the leg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much so.
Tell me about that.
As a matter of fact, like I said, I rebuilt that motorcycle, rode it for a little bit and then sold it. And then, I didn't sell it without already having a plan for the next one. And the next one was pretty much on the way.
Did you tell the person that bought it what happened to it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you? Yeah,
He
really?
knew me. We were
no
friends.
shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So, but he had enough confidence in my ability to rebuild bikes at the time that he was like, okay, cool.
That's sweet though.
I think he might, and I have curses on motorcycles.
That's what I'm saying,
I've
dude.
sold several and people have, wadded them up. And
Oh,
it's not
shit.
by any means of,
Right.
anything that I've done. It's just that maybe it was a little bit more bike than they could handle. And I always warned them, hey, this isn't, I modified stuff. I
You're
made
right.
things lighter, faster, a little more horsepower, that kind of thing. That was my deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually going through a surgery when I sold it. Ordered another GSX-R 1000 from Beaudry Motorsports in Post Falls, Idaho. They drove it down in a trailer. I was on crutches in my driveway after recently having a surgery in a cast. And when the guy pulled it off the trailer and pulled it inside my garage for me, and he was asking, hey, what happened? And I kind of told him a little bit of the story. He's like, you are absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's what most people would say,
I
right?
said,
Unless you're a motorcycle. Yeah, right.
And I said, you want to see insane? Hold on. I got on the bike, got my helmet and stuff, put it on, got on the bike, went out in front of my house, and I had a big long street in front of my house there, and I was wheeling it down the street in front of there. Yeah, and he's like, okay, I got to go. I'm out of here before I get in trouble.
Yeah, no shit.
So I pulled it in the garage, and he actually helped me get off the bike.
Oh my God.
And so, my wife came home and I was out in the garage messing around with it, and it tipped over on me and pinned me against the garage wall. And she comes out and catches me out there like, I told you not to be messing around. And I'm like, help me get this thing off me, and it's starting to slip. I'm holding the front brake, to keep it from falling over because I couldn't put any weight on that one foot. And hopping with the motorcycle really doesn't work too well.
Right.
So anyway, so my wife comes out, sees me like that, and she goes, hold on, goes back in the house, comes back out with a camera.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Starts
Nothing
helping
about
me
like
out.
moral support.
Indeed. But after that surgery and healing from that, and going back riding again, I was acutely aware of anything could happen. You know, I had this mentality of, I'm a good rider, so I've got this. You know, I didn't plan on a mechanical failure, and then I didn't plan on that resulting in cars hitting me, and then resulting in serious injury and potentially loss of life. And so all of a sudden, all of the stuff that, you know, is out there among us, anybody that rides on the road, became, you know, forefront in my mind. All of a sudden, my confidence kind of went, oh, hey, wait a minute, you know.
I think that's
there's
to be
some
expected,
things,
yeah.
there's some things to think about here. I know I'm a good rider. However, there's things that are, there's variables.
Reality.
Exactly. And so I started thinking, you know, how am I going to ride now on the street? And I played a lot with my buddies. We were loosey-goosey, and, you know, we took a lot of chances. And then after having firsthand knowledge of the consequences of those, you know, chances that we take, I decided that, you know what, maybe I need to start doing this a little bit safer. So I had friends say, you know what, you ride well, you love this kind of riding, you've got that, you know, adrenaline junkie, you know, danger, go after it kind of attitude. There's a place and a time for this, and it's the racetrack. Let's go do a track day. You know, just come out and ride on the racetrack. You don't have to, you know, you've got all the gear and everything, and you don't have to worry about cars, gravel, this, that. Everybody's going the same direction. There's rules. You know,
no shit.
And you can go as fast as you want to. There's no tickets. You know?
Right.
But with
no jail time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But with track days, there's no trophy at the end of the day either. So, you know, you ride them, you know, in your limits. Don't be pushing the envelope too hard.
Right.
And it's a completely different type of riding. And at such a higher level, you can be the fastest guy you know on the street.
Yeah.
And you get on the racetrack and you have a 12-year-old kid on a 250cc race bike pass you in a corner eating a sandwich, looking at you like, dude, you know, step it up, buddy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right, yeah.
And so all of a sudden you're humbled. But with that, if you have the passion, you're like, I want to get better. And so you start listening to people that really know what they're doing. And that if you don't have the attitude, well, I'm a good rider. I know how to ride a bike, and I'm just going to twist the throttle a little bit harder.
Right.
I'm going to brake a little bit later. You know,
it can be dangerous. Yeah.
And if you have that attitude, you're not only a danger to yourself, you're a danger to everybody on the racetrack, and those guys aren't going to want you around. Yeah, right. And they're not going to help you. They're just going to let you wad yourself up and your bike up, and they're going to say, he's gone.
Yeah, right. You know? He won't be back.
Exactly. Yeah, right. And if you are, you won't last 2 laps.
Yeah,
and you'll be off the track.
Yeah.
So going in there humble and being humbled, and then asking the guys, hey, listen, how do you do that? And how can I get better? And then having guys that are willing to, if you're willing to do that, they're willing to teach you.
Right. If they know you got a humble attitude, right? And like you're not the shit yet.
And they're waiting. They're waiting for you to want to know. And because that's what they love to do. They love
I get
to teach,
that as an instructor. Yeah, exactly. I love that.
And that's what I love to do too. You know, you see all these young guys go out and buy a brand new Gixxer off the showroom floor, and they don't even have an endorsement yet.
I know.
And they can go out there and
it's insane that we do that.
Yeah, you can open the throttle up and go 160 miles an hour, but can you turn it?
That they're even allowed to buy those legally. I mean, it's insane what our country does.
Yeah, God bless America, right?
Yeah, God, I mean, yeah, it's just like, what? What sense does that make, giving a 17-year-old boy an 1100? You know, that just should be outlawed.
Indeed.
It's insane.
And you've got his father is the one that's co-signing.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude.
You value your son's life?
Exactly.
Like he's a boy and he's got balls.
Exactly.
Donor bike. Yeah, right. Yeah, no shit. Sad, scary.
Yeah, I've got a friend that's he's a trauma surgeon in an ER, and he calls them murder cycles.
Oh, yeah, good name.
He races. And he's one of my good friends that got me onto the track. And that was a big part of it was, you know, he's like, hey, there's a safe place to do this, and there's a safe way about going about doing it.
Right, yep.
So getting to the racetrack and then starting to learn from guys and them helping me with my skill set and getting me up there, the better you get, you'll start to meet the limits of your equipment.
Right.
Then you have to start getting better equipment. You got to
the game, buddy.
You got to get better tires.
The game.
get your suspension dialed in for your weight and for the way you brake and the way you ride, because the way you do it on your bike is completely different than the next guy over here.
It's so technical.
It is.
It gets insane.
My mind and it can become obsessive.
Oh, it is. No, it doesn't become obsessive. It is obsessive.
You start looking around at just like a crackhead, what can I sell?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
New tires,
It's the same with street stuff. I mean, or adventure stuff. It's just, you're like, I need better suspension. I need this. And oh God, yeah. The funnel.
It's chasing the dragon.
Yeah.
And that's where he started getting better and better at working on bikes and stuff, because he would work on a bunch of his friends' bikes when they would lay one down.
Okay.
And he would get a lot of parts from them as they go and get new parts to replace theirs. He's like, well, can I keep
that'll
your
work
stuff
for me?
Exactly.
When I put new stuff on there. So,
and I would trade my services a lot of times for them to give me stuff or buy me stuff, or, you have guys that have, you go to the track and they've got high-end budgets. They've got sponsors, et cetera, or they come from money just, naturally. And they'll go out on the racetrack and they'll run a set of qualifying tires and they're like, man, it just doesn't feel right. And it could be a number of things that could be causing that.
Right.
And the first thing that they're going to think, the tires.
That's what they think, right?
The tires. I don't like these tires. And so they'll come back and they'll peel the rubber off and they'll toss it off to the side. They're never going to put that rubber back on their bike.
You're like, cha-ching.
And so, there I am. Hi. Remember me? I'm that guy over there. $50, man. And you're talking about $600 worth of high-end rubber.
Yeah, no shit.
$50, dude. Well, how about, you got your tire machine with you, right? And dude,
change them out for me.
Swap some rubber for me real quick, because the Dunlop trailer over there, they've got 6 bikes waiting,
Nice.
And so I'm like, sure, man, I can change your tires out real quick for you. And again, they know my skill set.
Yeah, right.
So they know
they trust you.
Yeah, they trust me. Exactly. And most of the time they trust me more than the techs over there.
Right.
And again, a lot of that comes to a personal thing too. You're my friend.
Yeah,
and the last thing I want to do is have your injuries or your death on my hands, because I love you, brother. It's not worth it to me to have you get hurt. I'm going to do it right. And I mean, every step of the way, not just swapping the rubber,
so true.
but every nut, bolt, everything that goes back on your bike. I want you to go out and test it this way. Tell me if the tire pressure is right. How does it feel? And a lot of times I'd be the first one on the bike before I put your safety. Yep. Before I put your safety at risk, let me go hot lap it a couple of times, get the tires up to temperature and then go from there. And then you can go out and ride it and do your thing. But that's how I earned a lot of the equipment.
Cool.
I would have guys do the same thing with fork internals, high-end other parts. They would progress to more and more expensive stuff, and I would get their hand-me-downs, but it was always an upgrade from what I had.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's awesome. And this is where the video we mentioned up front of the episode about changing tires, that video we did, that's exactly where that tire machine that he got, it goes on your hitch. You guys should watch the video, but that's how he used to change tires at the track. And so we brought his expertise in here to Lab Median, and Tim's been gracious and doing that and never always willing to help. So that was kind of a cool experience and cool video.
And you don't have to have high-end equipment to do a high-end job. If you look at most motorcycle racing out there, especially high-end road racing, the top tier stuff, they'll use high-end equipment to peel the rubber off of wheels and stuff, just because it's fast. It's
correct, and it's easier. It's less effort, right?
But if you watch
doesn't mean it does a better
balance,
job.
They put them on gravity balancers, the same balancer I use. Because it's the most accurate way.
The static balancer.
Yep.
Right.
That's the most accurate way to get it right where you want it.
I'm going to buy one of those.
They're great.
Because I've got to start doing KLRs. I want to do the on rubber myself. So I got some stuff on my wish list, and that's one of them.
Truing spokes too.
Yes. I saw that.
You bet.
Yeah. Good call.
But so I started going to the racetrack, even with my foot tore up, and I still had the confidence, and started getting better and better, getting better and better equipment. I started slowing. It's funny. The faster you go on the racetrack, the slower you go on the street.
Yeah, right.
You just start having a little bit more respect for,
because it's not controlled.
Exactly.
And you respect it. Yeah.
And when you start pushing that envelope and you start getting faster and faster, you realize that you can't ride this way on the street.
Right.
And if you try, you're destined to the graveyard. In short fashion.
Yep.
And again, we spoke earlier about you get to a certain point where you're so used to riding on the racetrack and you have so much fun there, and you get on your sport bike and you get back on the street and you're like, this is absolutely boring.
Head check. Yeah, just
boring.
just like, yeah, right.
What do you guys want to do? We're going to go down to Starbucks. Okay, no. I'll just stay home. And so I sold my street stuff and started putting more and more money into the race bike stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And with my hip and femur and the type of implant that I have, I was still being able to crawl all over the bike. So my ability to manipulate the motorcycle,
move your weight,
exactly,
right.
Transition from one side to the other, to feeling where my foot was positioned on the pegs. Especially my right foot, being that that's the one that was severely injured, and the right brake is right there. And after the amputation, I was still on the racetrack, but I couldn't feel where my foot was positioned. I couldn't feel when it was touching the ground, or if I was touching the rear brake. And my rear rotor is red hot because my foot was resting on the brake just a little bit, and I didn't realize it.
Right. How many years after, real quick, was the amputation, the full? Because you're tired of having surgeries on it.
6 years.
It wasn't 6 years.
So it was 2008 is when I had the amputation.
Okay.
And again, it was a process of. I knew I was going to be back on a bike.
Right.
And that was not part of the equation at all. Yeah, it's just a matter. This is just something that needs to get done, and then I can move on from that point forward.
Right.
And so the first temporary prosthetic limb that I got, I had the friend that I told you was the orthopedic surgeon. This guy's got a garage full of beautiful machines. And he called me up and he said, "Yeah, I heard you got a leg on." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, How do you feel? I said, and it sucks, but I can walk, I can get around.
Right.
And he says, "Well, are you pretty confident about, stepping down, that kind of stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got the feel of it pretty good." And he said, you ready to get on a bike? And I said, "Yeah, I don't have one yet, but I'm in the process of that." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I know you don't have one." He goes, "I've got several."
That's so cool.
You ready to get on a bike?
That's so cool.
And I said, "Absolutely."
That's a biker community, brother.
Yeah.
Love it.
He says, "Well, we're all going to go on a ride, man. Just come on over to my place. Be here at 9:00 tomorrow morning, and we're going to go spend the day. So, how you feeling? Can you do a longer ride? Can you get out for the day?" And I said, "Dude, as long as we're, as the wind's blowing in my hair, I'm down. We're going." So I get over to his house, and he opens up the garage, and he's got, a Ducati 1098R, a Benelli TNT. And he's like, which bike do you want? And I've never ridden a Benelli, and I'm like, that one right there, and I know my bikes pretty well. And a Benelli it's a 3-cylinder bike, so it's got the torque of the V-twins sport bikes, but it's got the rev range of an inline 4.
Okay.
So where V-twins, it's kind of a, you're not getting real high up there in the RPMs to get the torque.
Right.
Where in inline 4, you're getting up in the RPMs to really get the torque and the power. Well, it's got the best of both worlds.
Okay.
And again, it's a high-end piece of equipment. And so I get on this bike, and before we even roll out of the driveway, like I told you earlier, the first thing I asked him was, "How do you want me to ride your motorcycle?" And he said, "Ride it like you ride it."
Nice.
So, we got maybe a block down the road, and I'm wheeling down the road on this bike, and, with prosthetic leg and all. And I've got a picture of me with my first prosthetic leg on that bike, just like the Harley picture you have up here, where I'm got my pant leg pulled up, showing off the leg.
Right. Yeah. On this episode. Yeah. Nice.
And
nice.
So we went out and rode, had a great day, confidence was right there. I've got this, fortunately for me, it was the braking side. And like we talked about before with this new Harley Davidson system,
right?
Most of your braking is on the front. You've got 2 big rotors on the front, one little one on the back. So that's where my focus was on braking.
Absolutely,
anyway,
right.
On the front. And so it was basically just keep that foot out of the way of the rear brake.
Right.
And I'm all good. So as far as shifting and everything else goes, I didn't have to have any special equipment or anything like that to just jump on a bike and go. And so going out, having a blast, getting back on it, feeling great again, waiting for my next bike to show up. And then as it does, I'm right back to the racetrack.
Nice.
And I'm rolling around. I'm still doing, I'm racing or riding in the A group on track days. So you're right up there with the guys that are club racing. And other guys that are nationally ranked, that kind of thing. You're riding with different skill sets there. So you have like A, B, and C groups. And usually with most providers, A group is your high, level riders. B group is guys that are just really fast, really good riders, come out and ride the racetrack quite often.
Right.
And C group is either people that are new to the racetrack or new to racing, and you have control riders, guys like me that have ridden for quite a while on the track, will tow you around the track.
Oh,
basically,
okay.
Don't pass anybody, just follow me.
Follow my lines.
And
Show you
exactly,
breaking
basically,
points
right.
exactly, yeah.
All of that.
And one of the biggest things is when you first get these people out on the track, you have them follow you and don't pass and don't do this, and pull them around the track, for several laps just to get heat in the tires.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Because if you let them go,
Oh,
they're
God.
full throttle, cold tires, first corner, they're out in the dirt.
Yeah, right.
And so, so a lot of times I would earn my track time by going out and being a control rider. I'd spend several sessions throughout the day taking new riders out and having them, follow me around the track. And then I would switch off, get behind some of them. And then you don't really criticize them. When you get back into the pits from your session, you give them pointers and you say, you were doing this really good. You were moving around on the bike really
Right.
good. Or, you're looking through the corner good. Now you just need to look a little bit further as you increase your speed. And, you just kind of
right.
bring them along. And so in doing that, I was able to earn my time to go out and play with the boys.
Nice, bro.
But so doing that, again, it got to the point, though, where I started thinking more about where's my foot position and going into corners. And I'd feel something tug on my leg a little bit. And as my brother can attest to, I've got a boot that's burned all the way through and all the way into the rubber foot and stuff because my toe's dragging.
Right, and you don't even know it.
Didn't feel
Right.
A little smoke coming off,
Jesus
and you're
Christ.
smelling something, and you get in the pits and go, "Oh yeah, did I bring other boots?"
Oh my God, dude.
Don't worry about it; it's a fake foot anyway, right?
Yeah, just throw some duct tape over it. So.
Indeed, and it's kind of funny some of the looks you get from other people
they're
when
like,
you're taking your
"Dude."
leathers down and you pull your leg off, and it's a twist in a position. And they're like, "Hey." That's not supposed to do that.
I just got in a wreck. Don't worry about it. Just kidding.
And they see it's a carbon fiber leg, and they're saying, "Hey, man, that's not fair. That's a little bit lighter than mine. That's not fair."
Right.
But so just still loving being out there.
Yep.
But noticing also that my competitive level had kind of taken a back seat. So as far as club racing goes, and being competitive, anything beyond Novice class or something
Sure.
like that, it just wasn't something that I was going to pursue. It's very expensive, and if you're not going to be competitive, then just go out and have fun.
And that's all that matters is that you're having fun.
Indeed. Right? And again, back to helping other people out and bringing other new riders along. And when we go out riding on the street, when I was still doing that, taking young kids that bought these high-end machines that are super fast and saying, "Hey, listen, why don't you come out and do a track day?
Let me help you not die.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And by the end of, and I don't care who you are, if you go do a track day or any kind of a riding school, you're going to be riding better than you ever have by the end of that day. And I don't care how many years you've been riding.
It's true. Yeah. It's a diminishing skill.
It is.
Absolutely
And
diminishing skill.
you might, I've been riding for 40 years, man. Well, guess what? You've been riding wrong for 40 years.
Exactly.
Dude. And it's amazing that you haven't killed
It's kind of
yourself.
like shooters. I've been shooting for 20 years. You've been shooting wrong for 20 years.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Some questions. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Or at least comments. So.
Comments. Okay. Let me ask you this real quick and save those because I want to get to them. That's the patron group here, live chat. As we wrap this up here, you've transitioned to a Harley.
Yes.
When did you decide to do that and why and what's going on there? Because that's how, when I first started meeting you, when I first started meeting Brian, I learned of your injury and your past and stuff like that. So I've learned so much tonight. I love this.
Yep.
Because you get bits and pieces, but to really sit down and talk to you is fascinating. So thank you for this.
No problem.
But you transitioned, to Harleys, and you're doing that with us now, when you can.
When you're of the type of people that we are, and you have that, even if it's just a spark of competitiveness,
Right? Yeah.
and you're out on the racetrack, you're always going to go a little bit faster than you probably should. And with having the amputation and then going through that whole process of surgeons saying, "Hey, listen, you've got a full femoral implant. If you do anything that's going to result in us having to cut more of your leg off, whether it be an infection or another injury, we're not going to be able to go mid-femoral on you. We're going to have to go all the way up at your
See, I
hip.
didn't know this. Okay.
And you're not going to be able to wear a prosthetic limb.
Gotcha.
So you're not going to be walking. You're
That's
gonna be
high
in a wheelchair.
stakes.
Exactly. And so it got to the point where, okay, well, I know that anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
And is it worth the risk? And I started seeing other friends that I knew were really good riders. I mean, high-level racers, nationally ranked. And then they're high-siding on the track. It just got a snap in an instant, and they're flying.
You're going to make a mistake eventually.
And they're dead.
Yeah.
They come down on their head, they basilar skull fracture, they're getting life lighted out, and then we get the news.
Damn, man.
And you're like, if it was never going to happen to anybody, that would be that guy. It would never happen to him.
It's always the way it is.
And so it started me thinking. And being a family man, my son was young. He's still only 16 years old. And I was like, my wife has been through all of this from day one with me, and all the surgeries and all the pain. And I've asked her several times if I was ever going to give up riding, dude, that's the one thing that would have made me do it. Mm-hmm. And I said, listen, I don't want to go out on a ride with my buddies and have you sitting here at home worried the whole time I'm gone, because I'm going to be gone all day,
Yep. No shit.
And she said, you know what? I know for one that you're a good rider. And I also know that anything can happen. But I know that you love to ride.
That you're not going to live.
And I'm not going to stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
And as long as you love me as passionately as you love riding, we're okay.
Nice, bro.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, I'll see you later. The boys are
green
calling,
light,
man.
bro.
Exactly.
Green light. Get on the horn. Time to go. Yeah, let's roll.
So
let's roll.
going from that type of riding to
pleasure,
slowing down a little bit, and again, if you've got that competitive level, you're like, if I'm not going to be doing this, then why am I really out here?
Right.
And I could, better use this money to do something else. And I'd gotten to the point where I told my brother, I'm just done, for riding. I'm going to try and find something new, something different. My brother like, whatever. By the way,
new.
Yeah. By the way, here's a motorcycle.
Yeah. He's just like this, looks at you.
Yeah. It's a cruiser. Yeah. I think that's exactly what he said. But he basically, here's a bike, man. Let's go ride. And so it was a cruiser. And so
Had you ever been on a cruiser before that? Real quick.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
We kind of grown up riding those. That's kind of when I transitioned to the sport bike stuff.
Right. That's
and everything.
true.
And so I kind of went back to that, and I was again, I was actually looking at the scenery and not just a blur.
Thinking about how fast can I take this next corner, and I'm going to apex this just right. You're like,
was that a state patrolman?
Yeah, I'm going to smell the air. Yeah, I don't have to look for cops all the time. Yeah,
and I start the enjoyment. The original thing that I loved about motorcycling started coming back to me. That's awesome. That freedom of relaxation and enjoying the environment that I was in. And don't get me wrong, I still love the smell of race fuel and rubber.
Yeah, right.
But so going from that, I was like, if I'm going to ride a cruiser, I'm going to ride a Harley.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never had one. Always wanted one. Kind of, I mean, it's a Harley. Yeah,
hell yeah.
So that's what I went and got, and then started rolling around on that and just loving the feel, loving the sound. And then again, the brotherhood.
Brotherhood, yeah, is a big part of it. Yep.
And that's one of I think the biggest things for motorcycling all the way around for me is the relationships. When I woke up in the hospital and I looked around and I had my family around me, I knew everything was going to be okay.
Yeah, right.
And when I get in any kind of a pinch in life, and I've got brothers like you and my brother and Ricky and the guys, I know who to call.
Yep.
And if we're off on a road, thousands of miles away from home, I'm good.
Yep. It's true.
We've got each other's back. And I've never found that in anything else I've ever done. And I've done a lot of different things.
Yep. I agree.
So
you could have got it in the Marine Corps, but you just couldn't bend over in the shower.
Oh, geez. Yeah. It wasn't stretchy enough. Read some of those comments or some stuff going on in chat there, Goat.
Steve Karpenstein said, wow, a lot of writers of all levels need to hear your passion and story.
Mike.
It could definitely help with mindset and perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said.
And then Gary Jackson asks, without feeling sensation, how do you know your foot is staying on the peg?
Good question.
If the leg is still attached, It's probably on the peg. Otherwise, it's dragging and it's down the road.
Yeah, right.
No, actually, it's just the same as stepping down with the prosthetic limb. You're waiting for that impact. You feel the impact. And so I tend to over-exaggerate that when I put my foot on the peg, is I'll kind of thunk it down, to make sure I feel that, that it's right where it needs to be. And with the Road Glide Ultra that I have now, it's got the floorboard, so it's a lot easier for me to make sure my foot, is where it needs to be.
Right.
But with the sport bike stuff, when I was on the racetrack,
Little tiny pegs.
yeah, I would actually take some pieces of Teflon and stick to the bottom of my boot and screw them right into the boot.
Oh, no shit.
So that I could slide it right onto the peg. So when I slid my foot forward, it would catch.
Oh.
And I knew it was on the peg. And I knew it was in the right position of where I needed it to be.
That was after he ground the boot.
Right, yeah. That was after, what are we going to do about this?
It saved me several $100s in boots.
Yeah, boots aren't cheap, bro.
No, they're not.
Boots aren't
$350,
cheap.
$400 a pair.
Yeah.
And now they're even more, depending on, what brand you buy and that kind of thing. But yeah, so you find your own way, and what works for you. And I think that's true with, every rider for just every little nuance, if you will.
Yep.
And there's a Facebook page that I'm a part of that's amputee motorcycle riders.
No shit.
Yeah. So we all talk to each other and kind of,
that's cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that have lost their limbs for whatever reason. A lot of them are in motorcycle accidents.
Yeah, right.
And it's that.
There's probably some combat guys in there too.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And the guys that love to ride, they went overseas, they come back home, they're like, how do I get back to doing what I love to do?
Right.
And so we share a lot of information on there.
That's great.
Things that work, things to avoid, and
those are the good things about social media.
Oh,
right?
Very much so. Yes.
Yeah. A lot of bad.
And about the passion for riding too.
Yeah.
And speaking in that tone, Charles Wilburn says right here that he has a friend with 2 prosthetics and he rides still. He admits his confidence is lacking, but your story, I'm sure he'll enjoy hearing.
Very cool.
That's something that you may want to post.
Put a link in your Facebook group when this episode airs. I think that would be really cool.
Sure. So that way guys can know and they can pass that information on to their
and
friends.
if there's any others in that group that want to get on and have something to share, I love interviewing like that. So that's really cool.
There's some amazing stories on there.
Oh, I bet.
And what's so cool is just as most of these people, they're so open and transparent about everything.
Right.
And again, when it comes to something they're so passionate about, it's one of the things I love being on there about is being able to help a little, but I get just as much back.
Yeah, right.
I have, things that I might have questions on, and it can be anything related to, how do you talk to your wife about this?
Right.
She saw everything you went through, and she has trauma. She might be sitting at home sweating, like we talked about earlier. And how do you get her past that? Or she loved to ride too, so she wants to get back on the back again with you.
Right.
How does she have the confidence? How are you going to get her over that hump? And again, confidence is the number one thing. When you do something like this and you lose sensation, you know that riding is a lot of sensation. It's all about sensation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the feedback that you're getting from the machine. And
you don't realize that's gone till how much you probably used it and you didn't know it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like losing your sight. And then having to feel your way around the world, wow. And it's not that dramatic, don't get me wrong, but it can be, something similar as you're trying to adapt to a whole new you and make it work for something that you love to do so much, but it also requires a lot of you physically. And so with that gentleman that has the 2 prosthetic legs, I would highly suggest that he do something in parking lots, or whatever, a safe environment. But get out there. And they make so many different things that you can use for modifying your shifting, piggyback brake system. So if you're using your front brake, a little tiny reservoir on top that actually, uses the back brake.
Oh, nice. Yeah, right.
If you like that independent feel, like on the racetrack, I like to back it in, so to speak. So I would, put some pressure on the rear brake as I'm trail braking through corners to step the back end out. Because it's fun.
Right, yeah, right, yeah.
And you get the tire spinning a little bit. You can square the apex off and shoot yourself out where the other guy's going out and coming in. You're just sliding in and boom, you're gone.
Right.
But so, finding what works for you and what, you feel comfortable with. And with the new ABS systems and the, the stuff we were talking about, the new technology
on our last episode, the RDRS,
that kind of stuff can come in very handy when it comes to that kind of thing. And, only being able to actuate the front brake, but it actually uses, both braking, the front and rear system. So the technology's out there. There's a way to adapt just about anything to do what you need it to do.
Yeah.
But it's that confidence is what is most important. If you know you can do it, you can do it.
Nice.
It's just a matter of finding a way to do it.
Nice. You got anything there, Goat?
Anthony Peters says he wants to find a track near him so he can start learning the supermoto stuff. So maybe if you know of any of that stuff, and I believe Anthony's
and Timothy here's in the private Facebook group, so hit him direct. And maybe he has some resources. All of you Patreon members, mid-level and above, that are in this chat and private Facebook group, Timothy is in there. Timothy White is what he's under. That's good stuff. And Gary Jackson says, so inspirational. Thank you for sharing, Tim.
Well, thanks for listening to me, guys, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
There's
I could keep going.
Of guys just like me out there.
I still have really 1,000 questions.
Right on.
But I gotta.
No problem. And as far as the track day stuff goes, there's tracks all over the place. They're usually at least one within a couple of 100 miles of you, and it's worth the trip. It's worth the time to go out, and even if it's just a one-time deal or whatever, go out, experience it. You'll learn more in a day than you will in years of riding without it.
Tell me this. I have access to tracks because because of the police motorcycle job and instructor. So I get to take my Hardys out on fast tracks. I've never done a civilian fast track. Do they allow that type of bike, or do they only allow race bikes?
No, you can pretty much bring what you've got. It's
just they'll help the audience understand. Like you can take your Harley out there,
indeed, and you can take your street bike out in full street livery.
Okay,
they might have certain rules depending on the track day provider, whether you cover tape off your glass. So if you fall over on the racetrack, you're not leaving glass all over the track for someone else to cut their tire up.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times, if it's your first time out, you have to have a brake light on your bike so that other people behind you can see when you're braking.
Yep.
So there's rules for whatever level you're riding at, and for the type of machine that you're on. But you can pretty much ride anything.
That's cool.
And they will advocate it. They're like, I don't care what you ride.
Do it here.
Come out here, and learn how to ride that bike. Learn how to get yourself into that panic situation, if you will.
Right.
Ride it to the limit.
Know your bike's capabilities.
Exactly, because you know what? That bike is far more capable
than
you are 99% of the time.
Usually the case.
So, and when you trust the bike, then do what you know you need to do.
Yep.
Work on you, and you'll make it through that corner.
Yep. And there's a lot of lower stuff. We've talked about that so many times in the past. I'll just reiterate that there are a lot of schools. I don't have any particulars around here, but I know there is, where you can do the lower speed technical type stuff that I talk about a lot. There's a lot of stuff around for that. So I don't have any off the top of my head.
Every track day provider will have a school available. They'll have instructors that will go out there with you and walk you through it, and no extra cost. Now you can go to certain schools that have former racers like Keith Code in Southern California. This guy was a MotoGP racer. He's at the highest level of racing worldwide, and you can go and pay a little bit of extra money, and he'll teach you some secrets.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Money talks, bullshit walks. Yeah. Right.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But then you've got guys like me that are just club riders,
just want to help
racers. Yeah. They just want to help and teach you what we know and help you, be just a little bit better than you were.
Yep. Absolutely. Anthony Peters will finish it off here. Says in the private chat, says not being able to get back out and ride is soul crushing after an accident.
Yes.
Yep. Very, very much. Wow. And like I said, I could keep going, but I'm not.
Me too.
I always got to hit the outro button because I'll just keep going. I still have a lot of stuff. I think that was a good overview. I think we got in depth. I mean, that was a little over an hour and a half. So I think we got a lot of good information there. And thank you, as stated, Timothy, for sharing. It's going to be a great episode when it airs in 2 months to the rest of the public, but everybody else will get it here. And inspirational, man. Awesome. 2 back-to-back. And don't forget, guys, as we take it out here, as mentioned up front, please keep checking back at the Law Abiding Biker Store. We had a long training day today. We've revamped it. We're adding products. We want to bring more stuff to you guys. It's calculated the way we're doing it, but the only way to do it is check the menus. And like I say, if there's something that's a more specialty, or maybe we don't carry it, but you want to support us, you certainly can hit Brian or Rick up in the Law Abiding Biker store on the contact form or whatever. We're here to help you guys and serve the biker community. And the podcast is another way to serve the biker community, along with YouTube and our store and all that kind of stuff. It's great. We've had a mild winter here, I will say. We've been very blessed because last year we got slammed this time of year. And I've been able to get out on the street bike. I've been able to get out on the KLR, the Adventure. I am sprinkling some adventure videos in on the YouTube channel. It's still mostly street, but here and there we're going to be sprinkling some adventure stuff in as we continue to grow. And that's another avenue for us to help larger scale group, a different subset, I guess, of the motorcycle community. So we're having fun doing that. So don't worry, we're not going away with the YouTube channel. We're still doing street stuff and Hardy stuff and American Made V-Twin and any metrics we can get our hands on, but we are going to do adventure stuff too. So I know there's a lot of crossover, even seeing the conversation in the Facebook group. Most generally speaking, people that love motorcycles, that truly love motorcycles, they love all aspects of motorcycling, and they'd have one of each if they could afford it.
Yeah.
And I think
if I had the money, I'd have them all.
Yeah, I get concerned because I'm like, oh, some guys are going to be turned off because we're sprinkling adventure stuff. But you know what? From what I've seen in the community and the Facebook group is most guys are like, hey, I would love to do it all. I just don't have the time or I don't have all the money, but I'm interested in it. And maybe they'll get into it later in life like I did, stuff like that.
If you're ever at the racetrack, don't underestimate that gray beard old man.
Oh,
you never know.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, just listen for it.
Or he may bite you.
If he comes up behind you, get out of the way.
Or butt you in the balls.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, Goat, for being here all day and doing lab training, 2 podcast episodes. Thank you, brother.
Hey, anytime.
We're going to get out of here a little earlier than we expected because we did the first episode ahead of this one. Had we waited, we'd just be starting the second one. So get you home early.
Oh, I'm good.
Awesome,
I'm down
man.
to hang with you guys as long as we can.
What else are we going to do, right? Yeah. Work.
Yeah. Listen to the wife.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for being here, guys. We're out of here.